Welcome to the Ben Daniel Podcast, where we're calling a spade. Caitlin Clark triples the WNBA in terms of viewership this current season. Now, folks, last time we talked about Caitlin Clark and her viewership numbers, we were comparing her this year numbers compared to last year's WNBA numbers. And the conclusion that we came to, Caitlin Clark this year alone, giving you over 38 million views across all TV networks her current season. Last year, the WNBA, they only gave you 36 million views. And of course, I'm no mathematician, I continue to tell you this, but 38 seems higher than 36. Fast forward a couple days, we get some more clarity on the situation in terms of this year. In terms of average viewership numbers this year, Caitlin Clark versus the rest of the league is pretty darn staggering. Final WNBA regular season viewership number. Shout out to Michael Mulvihill. He gets the numbers directly from Nielsen. He's connected to the big company, so he gets the direct numbers. Caitlin Clark games are averaging 1.178 million views in terms of network viewership, while all the other games are giving you a measly 394,000 views. Caitlin Clark is solely responsible for this $200 million deal that the WNBA is going to be falling into this next coming years. Now, the CC views, folks, we already know, tons of million viewed games, 1.1, 1.5, 1.3, 2.2, 2.3, 2.1, even on NBA TV. She was setting brand new records for NBA TV, 678,000, 652,000. We know the games non-featuring Caitlin Clark, based on these numbers alone, hovering around the 400,000 view mark. Some of them giving you a little bit more on ESPN and ESPN2, and some of them giving you a lot less on NBA TV. Even the Chicago Sky versus Atlanta Dream opening night only gave you a measly 110,000 people watching. Numbers speak for themselves, folks. I implore all of you, go back to my previous videos. Caitlin Clark outdraws the entire WNBA, and we go further in to these numbers. However, when I saw this, when I was put onto this tweet, folks, if my name is not Caitlin Clark, I am embarrassed. If I don't play on the Indiana Fever, I am embarrassed. Imagine being somebody in the WNBA who's been in the league 5, 10, 15, 20 years, being told you're the face, you're the star, you're the celebrity, you're what people pay to see. And then Caitlin Clark comes in through the door and completely obliterates every single number the WNBA has ever dreamed of. If I'm Asia Wilson, if I'm being told I'm the face of the league for the past 5 years, well, how come nobody is watching you? Because you're not the face, right? If I'm Breanna Stewart, if I'm told I'm one of the stars in this league, well, how come nobody's watching you? Because you're not a star in this league. If I'm Diana Taurasi, I'm the GOAT, I'm the legend, I'm who the people pay to see. But how come people aren't going to watch you? Folks, it's players like that who don't understand the business side of things. You can be all good, you can make your layups, you can make your threes, but at the end of the day, if people aren't tuning in, you're not the face of anything. You're not a celebrity of anything. You might be popular in this little niche of the WNBA, but when it comes to the real sports world, when it comes to transcending your sport, when it comes to gaining new casuals, only one player is making that happen, and that player is yours truly, Caitlin Clark Kent. Folks, the ticket prices for these games coming into the playoffs are a little outrageous. The ticket prices for these playoff games are a little outrageous. Let's start over here. Caitlin Clark against the Connecticut Sun. It would have been cheaper to go to every single 2023 WNBA Finals game than to buy the cheapest ticket to see Caitlin Clark versus the Connecticut Sun in the first round. Folks, what does this mean? This means that if you wanted to see the 4 WNBA Finals game from last year, You can find ticket prices from all over the interweb and only pay $131 and make it to every single one of those games on that budget. If you had $131 in your name last year and you wanted to blow that $131 to see the WNBA finals, you could have gone into every single one of those games fitting your budget. However, this year, one single Caitlin Clark game against the Connecticut Sun, $133 for the cheapest ticket between the Connecticut Sun and the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark's coming to town. It's playoff time. $60 tickets are out the window. $40 tickets are out the window. We're charging big boy prices to see a big name superstar. And Caitlin Clark is that big name superstar. As well, folks, look at all the get-in prices for the first round of the playoffs this year. Fever Sun, we already know, $133. Mercury at Lynx, $65. Dream at Liberty, $18 to go into the Barclays Center and watch the New York Liberty play playoff basketball. $18 to go into the Barclays Center to watch the New York Liberty play basketball. That should speak within itself, right? Seattle Storm, Las Vegas Aces, $23 to see the face of the league, LMAO, playing basketball for the playoffs. $23, folks. Business is business, right? We can do all the feelings that we want, but at the end of the day, facts over feelings. At the end of the day, numbers don't lie, right? I mean, they've taken a wrong turn, but Jamel Hill and Michael Smith, I remember the show, Numbers Never Lie. Numbers Never Lie, part of that ESPN lineup, starting at 3 o'clock all the way to 6 o'clock ESPN. I was in that era. But then ESPN came crashing all the way down. Folks, need I say more? Fever Sun doubled what the Mercury Lynx are doing. Dream Liberty, folks, what's that? 8x as much? 7x as much? Around 7x as much to get into the Indiana Fever Connecticut Sun compared to the Dream Liberty. Storm Aces 5 times, 6 times. Numbers don't lie. Now, an interesting thing that I saw, shout out to you, Stavros Forever on Twitter. Stav, salute to you. One of the bigger Caitlin Clark supporters, a strong voice on Twitter when it comes to this stuff. And he has been to many games. I've kept up with what Stav has been saying lately. Fever Rising fans who bought Connecticut playoff tickets after, he thinks, he was the first one. Just to point out, he bought a front row midcourt ticket for $335 before the matchup was locked in. And now, front row tickets that aren't even midcourt, a minimum of $1,000. Front row tickets that aren't even midcourt, at minimum $1,000. Now, as we get closer to playoff time, tomorrow, later tonight, you might see that number come down. You might see some of these numbers start to get a little bit more affordable as they start trying to pack out these arenas. But folks, they're not going to come down too much, right? Caitlin Clark is a superstar. And when you want to watch a generational talent play playoff basketball, you're going to have some of those people who are willing to spend a little bit more of a ticket price just to get that full experience. Caitlin Clark continues to be the driving force behind the WNBA. And although she is the driving force, for some reason the WNBA decided not to put her in the playoff graphic here. The first graphic, the stage is set, and we have Kelsey Mitchell during this playoff graphic. Now, I would throw a temper tantrum. I would throw tables inside out. I'll take my rolly chair. I'd toss my rolly chair through a window. However, the Phoenix Mercury, they didn't even put Diana Taurasi as their icon on the stage's set, right? The Las Vegas Aces, they didn't even put Kate Martin, right? The Connecticut Sun, they didn't even put Dejanay Carrington. So it's not about who's the most popular player on the team, clearly. But to Kelsey Mitchell's defense, Kelsey Mitchell's having a hell of a year. I am not too mad at her being on this graphic if I'm looking at it in a vacuum. But we all know that this is just shade, incompetence, and hate coming from the WNBA league office when it comes to this type of graphic. There's no reason why it should be Kelsey Mitchell instead of Caitlin Clark. Again, I'm not going to throw a temper tantrum, but I will say, Kathy Angle, brain dead, can you please get control of your office? Can you please get control of your administration? Some of these things are just so incredibly blatant, so incredibly obvious. I mean, the next graphic that these idiots come out with is a playoff graphic, and if you're looking for Caitlin Clark, you got to look all the way to the end, and then you'd see Caitlin Clark. And boom, Diana Taurasi is in this one. You got Lisa Gray in this one as well. But all the way at the end, the one who makes this league all the money, the one who these people are trying to see, the one who these fans are spending $1,000 for, the one these fans are spending more than $1,000 for, $133 for, just for one ticket game. The one that these people and these teams are charging exponential amounts of money for, that's the one. That's the player that you guys have all the way end of your graphic. Again, am I going to throw a temper tantrum? No. But I will say, Kathy Angle, brain dead, you need to get control of your soldiers over there at the league office. Because it's blatant. Again, these aren't things in a vacuum. This is blatant, hateful, targeting marketing. That's a new word that we need to associate with the WNBA. Targeting marketing. Hateful targeting marketing, because there is no reason why the face of the league, the one who people pay to see, the one who people sit down around their TVs to watch, there is no reason why that player, this woman right here, shouldn't be front and center on every single graphic. I wouldn't even be mad if we do a Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark back-to-back, because they are the best backcourt in WNBA today. They are lethal. They are exciting. Kelsey Mitchell appears to be healthy, ready to go. Folks, as long as Chrissy Sides stays out of the way, then I believe the Indiana Fever should be able to make it past the Connecticut Sun. And if by some freak chance Diana Taurasi comes back to life, beats the Minnesota Lynx, which I don't think is going to happen, we're heading to the finals. If the Minnesota Lynx win out, again, I think we can beat that team. But we're not going to have the best coach, and that's going to cripple us when we go up against teams that we're just not clearly better than. Right? Although we might have two of the three most talented players on the floor, three of the five talented players on the floor, you need coaching when it comes playoff time. Even LeBron needed coaching. Even Kobe needed coaching. Jordan needed coach. Even the greats needed coaching during playoff time. So Chrissy Sides, get your head out of your ass and please don't blow it this coming weekend. Last things last, folks. Rookie of the Month award goes to Caitlin Clark. We weren't surprised, right? Who was she competing with, right? Rickea Jackson. Rickea, you had hell of a season. Too bad your coach, Kurt Miller, I believe his name is, correct me in the comments below. If Kurt Miller would have started you this whole entire season, then it would be Caitlin Clark, clearly Rookie of the Year. And then the only competition would be Rickea Jackson and maybe Angel Reese for number 2. But folks, I got to be honest, Rickea Jackson's rookie season has been incredible. She clearly is the second best rookie, in my opinion. Angel Reese can slide in number 3. Cameron Brink, if she didn't get injured, she's still top 15 in the league in blocks. And she was injured, 7 games into the season? 10 games into the season? So again, if that coach didn't mess up Rickea Jackson's rookie season by starting her on the bench, first half of the year seems like, if Cameron Brink does some squats, gets back in the gym, uses those leg machines, strengthen up her tendons, her ligaments, this rookie class is clearly the best rookie class the WNBA has ever seen, hands down. I'm not even going to argue it. But if we look at Caitlin Clark's numbers, Rookie of the Month, we have 22 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 9.1 assists per game. And you guys are probably saying, well, of course she's going to be Player of the Month too, right? Who has better numbers than that? Answer, maybe only Asia Wilson. But whoever beat her out, Brianna Stewart, the WNBA picks and chooses whether they want to include winning in the Player of the Month awards, whether they don't want to include winning, right? Whether they want to include impact, whether they don't want to include impact. Whether they want to base it off on stats, whether they don't want to base it off on stats. The WNBA has no clue what they want to do, and they have no idea what it means to be consistent in your messaging. Again, That is directly a call to Kathy Engel Braindead. Get control of your office. Get control of your little puppets, your pawns, your fools that control all of these social media accounts, and let them make some correct decisions that every time we look at things like this, and then we look at things like this, we don't end up looking like this. WNBA, you guys need to do better. Caitlin Clark, 22, 9, and 5 compared to Breanna Stewart's 27 and 1. This isn't even close. Caitlin Clark is clearly the player of the month in the Eastern Conference. What are we doing here? Is Breanna Stewart a good player? Yeah, she's a good player. Did she have a better month than Caitlin Clark? The answer, brain dead, she did not. We are in the venue tomorrow, Connecticut Sun, Indiana Fever, first playoff game for Caitlin Clark's young, soon-to-be illustrious career. As far as I'm concerned, she's already a Hall of Famer, right? It's the Basketball Hall of Fame, folks. Keep that in mind. What she's done in Iowa and already this rookie season. You can't tell the story of the WNBA already without Caitlin Clark. Appreciate everybody for listening. This is Ben Daniel Podcast. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I will see you in the venue tomorrow. Take it easy.